What up, everyone? This is a special episode of the podcast. It is the greatest and biggest grappling event coming this weekend. ADCC 2022 is this weekend, and I had the amazing opportunity to sit down with the promoters, Seth Daniels and Mo Jassim, for a look into how this event came to be, how ADCC came to be, from where it was. Then we go through all of the brackets. Mo gives his dark horses in each bracket, and then Seth gives who he thinks is going to win of each bracket. So I had a great time learning about it all. It was really great. So I hope you enjoy it. Special episode ADCC 2022. Here we go. What a weekend we have coming. What's up, my ninjas? This is former UFC fighter Elliot Marshall, and this is the Gospel of Fire, where we are going to learn how to go into the fire so that we can find our power and live the best life possible. Mo, Seth, what's up, fellas?
How you doing?
Nothing much, man. Just another glorious fucking Friday. Holy shit.
What?
Fucking a week away.
A week away.
Fuck me.
A week away from the big event. Guys, I'm excited. Thank you so much for making me the come up off of Joe Rogan. I do greatly appreciate that I'm the next level up for at least someone in the world.
Yeah, I'm just saying, if I was going to hook up with a bald dude, I'd probably take Elliot.
All right. Anyway, guys, here we are. We are a week away from what is going to be the biggest grappling event probably in the history of the world, right?
No question.
No question, right? Like no question. So let's talk about this event first. Okay. And then the podcast in general always has this how you did it kind of flair to it, right? And I think that's always the interesting story that people are really, really, really excited, like that can really help people, right? Is like, okay, how do they take this event that was this obscure kind of thing? I think it was always the most prestigious. Like if you're in the grappling world, you knew that ADCC was the gig, right? But somehow, Mo, you and Seth and your team have taken it to something where like the world, right, starts to know that it's the gig, which is a big step. You know?
I mean, there was a pivotal moment. I'll start with 2019 for me, at least. So 2019, I did the West Coast trials. That was at Muscle Farm. I was talking to Seth back and forth for about 2 years, ever since ADCC 2017.
Okay.
But we had never met. One thing about me, anyone that knows, is I always tell them I don't want to meet anyone new in this sport. So like, I'm just, they always disappoint me, or they want something that doesn't align with what I want to do. So Seth was at the event. I started speaking to him, and, quickly I picked up that he definitely knows what he's talking about. The reality of 2019 is this: we really didn't start working on that event till like May of 2019. So whatever we did in 2019, that was like 4 months of work. And I just feel like none of us really gave it the 100%. This event, when I announced that I wanted to do it again, I spoke to Seth and the team, Sean, et cetera. And I'm like, I want to go 100% for this one, all out, holding nothing back. So that's why I'm very excited. The world's going to see what we can do together at 100%.
Look, I was super lucky enough to be part of that 2019 ADCC. So thank you both to that. I do really appreciate that opportunity. And that was the coolest grappling event that I've ever been to. The only thing that outdid that was the West Coast trials this year, right? Like the West Coast trials was off the hook, man. So kudos. If you did that in 4 months, man, that was really sweet. What were you going to say, Seth?
Well, I started planting the seeds in 2017 because I was in Tulsa and I had just done a show. I think it was Fight to Win 48. And we stayed up like super late to watch Tom DeBlas compete against some dude from Hibero. And I like tuned on to the tournament, and I just like started talking shit like immediately to Mo. And I was like, oh, it's a cute high school wrestling tournament that you're running for the best fucking fighters in the entire world. I was like, what do you guys even do?
Totally Seth style, right? Mo,
Yeah,
totally
I'm like, this is ridiculous. So I was like, you're the greatest fighters in the world, and like it looks like a nice high school wrestling tournament. So I pretty much just talked a ton of shit until like he would listen, and then the reason that, to be clear, the reason that it only took 4 months, the first one, was because I went out and met him, and then he was like, yeah, I just want like 3 video screens and 2 taiko drummers. So I was like, all right, if this is what this guy's vision is, like I can do this in fucking 12 minutes. Like I'm not going to put any effort into this thing, because I thought it was going to be so easy. I was so not knowledgeable of fucking ADCC that like I made the original poster and I didn't even put Andre Galval on it.
Remember that?
Remember that? And he called me. He's like, you're a fucking joke. You don't fucking know shit. And I'm like, I don't understand what the big deal is. So what? You want a super fight? Like I do those every weekend.
He won like 4 of them, bro.
I didn't know what it meant. I didn't know what it meant. I'd watched 2 matches in my life with ADCC. One was Eddie Bravo, the one that we've all seen.
Yeah.
Right. And the other one was Tom DeBlas versus some random dude from fucking Hibero. Right. So I had no idea what the super fight actually meant. I literally just thought it was a match at a tournament. And Andre fucking lit me up, dude. And I felt so stupid. And then I like actually did research.
Yeah. You deserve that.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Totally. Yeah. And then I like had to do research, and I was like, fuck, I'm dumb. And so I had to like start doing some studying to see like what this shit was. And then, I mean, the story basically is that like, Mo is, what did I used to call you? Foxcatcher?
Yeah.
Yeah, because like, yeah, I know. Yeah.
So Mo, where did it start for you? Like where did this vision start for you? Right. Like, so you,
so I'll be honest with you. It started 22 years ago. So,
okay.
And I went to ADCC 2000 in Abu Dhabi. So I went to that event. I was just visiting my brother, and I knew what jiu-jitsu was because of the UFC. So I went to watch ADCC 2000. I see like Mark Kerr. I'm like, who's this behemoth that moves like a lightweight? I saw Arona, Henzo. So I became hooked on ADCC. Then I officially joined in 2007. But there was a 10-year period where I never organized an event. So my first event I ever did was 2017 West Coast Trials.
Okay.
So I did that event, and I just wanted to do one event. That was like my thing at the time. I'll just do one event, make a splash, show people I can actually organize. Then I go to Finland, and then that's when I had a talk with Shanji. Actually, me and Shanji were talking, and he's like, "Mo, this could be so much bigger and better." And I'm like, yeah, you're right. So I went to the ADCC boss, and I was like, I want it. And he's like, are you sure? Because there was other people already bidding for 2019. But with me, I had built a reputation in ADCC where I deliver. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it every time. So I was the safe bet. So they chose me. And, that's when I got awarded ADCC 2019. So this is actually my 5th event I've ever done. So,
man, like, and I remember the West Coast Trials. It was a literal shit show in 2019. Like like, how did you like, when we say literal, the toilet clogged, right? The toilet clogged and it backed up all the way, and like, there was this line, like literally people, like a massive line.
It was at Muscle Farm. So
it was at Muscle Farm.
If you add that all up, it makes sense.
It makes agreed.
Yeah, I think that was one.
We all know about that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing with us though, is every event I'm learning something new, Seth's learning something new, and we're just getting better and better. I feel 100 times more relaxed for this event than compared to 2019. just on a personal level.
Well, look, the way you stepped it up from West Coast Trials of 2019 to actual ADCC, that was massive. Like that was fucking massive. Like the level of production, the level of organization in 2019, that event. I was not at the East Coast Trials for this year's event, but I was at the West Coast Trials. And that was, look, I've been to a lot of grappling tournaments in my life. I've been doing it since 2000. And it was the coolest grapple. Like normally I want to go home, right? Normally I want to go home and watch on flow, right? Because it's better. That was not better. Like the energy in that room was ridiculous at West Coast Trials. Like it was like squirrel with the matches. You're like, yo, yo, yo. So
I agree. I mean, for me, I think West Coast Trials this year's was flawless. I on a personal level, I think it was more impressive than Worlds 2019 in a lot of ways. It was organized well. It was fun. The production. I mean, you can't really, unless you were there, which you were, you can't really describe the energy and the intensity. And that's the difference with ADCC compared to a lot of other shows. It's fun. It's exciting. It's suspenseful. And I think we do a good job of creating that environment.
And I think one of the main differences, when I got involved in it, I knew that Mo, like I was saying earlier, I used to make fun of him and call him Foxcatcher all the time because it was like he was hanging out with all these jiu-jitsu people and, helping them get fights and paying their shit. Because the thing with Mo, he's a super fan. He's a super fan of grappling, probably more than anyone I've ever met in my life. And I'm really not, even though it's my business. I watch football and basketball and shit like that, right? So like,
because you got a kid that's an athlete, right?
Yeah, but I mean, even if I didn't, like, I grew up. My dream growing up was to play, in the NFL and play in the NBA. The problem is I suck at sports, so like it didn't work out for me. But in 2017, the trials he put on, I don't know, people forget about this, but there was like 6 super fights on that show. That if that show was produced, it would have been, I mean, it buried Metamoris. Right. It was like, I mean, there was Buchecha and Lovato right after you, I think it was right after you fought Buchecha.
Yes. The West Coast Super Show thing.
Yes.
Gordon and Leandro Lowe. Dude, that was ridiculous.
Yeah.
That was ridiculous.
But here's the thing, right? It was like he had Leandro Lowe fight Gordon Ryan. He had Buchecha and Lovato. I want to say
Cyborg Vinny.
Gio.
Yeah, Cyborg Vinny. Yes.
Right. Cyborg Vinny.
Huge matches, but
nobody was there.
Nobody was there, and he was only charging $10 a ticket. Right. And so it was like, not only that, but it was like, sorry, Mo, if you don't want me to disclose your finances on that, but he lost like $250,000 fucking dollars doing
that show.
Event. Yeah. And so I started finding out about when we started talking and becoming friends, he started telling me, and I'm like, how in the fuck?
Hold on, I gotta cut you for sex up. Hold on. So Mo, you funded that show personally?
Yeah.
You're way in. You're like in it. You're not getting like, whoa, okay.
Well, I mean, there was 2 pivotal moments that were very big learning curves. That was one for me. This event, it was my first time organizing, and I'm like, I'm gonna come guns blazing and like make a statement. But I learned something very big on that show because I thought it was gonna sell. Tickets were $5. So $5 to go watch that show in Anaheim, California. 700 to 800 people showed up. That's it. So that's when I was like, the power of marketing. And this is a mistake all other organizers make. You can't do it all. Okay. I know what I'm good at and I know what I'm not good at. For example, when Seth came on board in 2019 for the Worlds, I told him, I'm like, ticket sales are going good. It was going solid, but it could be better. So he comes in. And the minute after he implemented some marketing plan, the average ticket sales went up by 6x daily. So the mistake of 2017 not selling, and then the fact that when Seth came and did the marketing plan for 2019, we went up by 6 times daily sales. I'm like, I'm not a marketing guy. So that's why I just gave everything to Seth. So one thing I've learned is, Seth's the production guy. So I just go, hey, this is my vision. And I just let him run with it and go, and same with like Sean. Sean handles the logistics. So you just got to know what you're good at. If you think you can do everything, I think that's a very, very big mistake.
That's a massive point, right? And I know that this is a little away from just ADCC in general here, right? This is just an overall what you're speaking about there, right? Like what is your role? Stay in that lane and then hire the best for everything else. So that's how it has to go. Like you said, you're not a marketer. And then how Sean ran West Coast Trials, man, there wasn't a dead mat. There wasn't a nothing. It was boom, boom, boom. So smooth. It was amazing.
Well, one of the things also that I think a lot of jiu-jitsu companies make huge mistakes of is that, and Mo was making the same mistake, he was going down the same route, is that they don't run it like a business, you know? So it's
Explain that.
Okay, so you gotta have a P&L, right? You gotta have costs. You know what I mean, right? So you gotta know, like, you can't run events and just be like, oh, I don't care how much money I lose, because then you're only going to be able to do 1 or 2 events. It doesn't matter. I mean, you can look at, was it ABC or ACB? I forget the name of it. The Russian.
Yeah, ACB. Yeah.
It doesn't matter how much. Those guys had tons of money, but eventually whoever's funding it is going to get tired of losing so much money. And then they're just not going to want to do it anymore. And when you don't have a business mindset, when you're running an event, it won't run like a business. It won't run efficiently. So it's like, you got to, make sure you have the right amount of staff, and you got to make sure that, you're budgeted correctly, and that the event is successful, even if it's just a break even, which is generally the goal with this. It was funny because you just said something like, oh, Mo, you did this by yourself. I think there's a misunderstanding of how ADCC is actually paid for. Yeah. You know what I mean? No. Because I think a lot of people think that our boss pays for everything.
Hold on, let me. This is how I think it's paid for. So you tell me if I'm wrong. Mo, you call the sheikh. The sheikh writes you has a blank check for you, and then right, and then you just have all this oil money from the sheikh.
That's what most people think.
Yeah, no, that's what I think, okay. Right? Well, look, it's like jiu-jitsu math, right? You have 500 students. They pay $200 a month. You make $1 million a year, right? Like, yeah. So explain. I would love to hear.
I'll explain how it works, because people they have no clue. It's sort of weird, because when you get awarded the world championship, they're completely hands off. It's up to you to make it as big or as small as you want to do it. There's no protocol. It's not like you get a 50-page manual. These are the guidelines. It's none of that. You just tell them the city, and it's completely up to you. But all the costs that I have to cover, but I get to keep the revenue as well. So it's up to me on how hard we're going to go. But there is no money that comes from Abu Dhabi. They do cover some of the costs. For example, they cover the flights, which is a big cost as well. But when I'm paying the venue, we're paying vendors and stuff like that, it's coming out of our pocket.
Out of yours.
Yeah. So
it's not, look, I don't think anybody knows that. No one knows that. I'm in the scene. I know Seth, Mo, you and I have talked and met a couple of times. Yeah. I thought you were just like, yeah, how hard is it to run? Oh, good for you, Mo. What do you have to make a phone call and get another check?
Not at all. Not at all. And I think the smartest thing we did is, people need to understand, for 2019, me, Seth, Sean, the team, we made nothing. Okay. We broke even, and that was a success. So because of that, a lot of times organizers will be like, let's cut the costs and maximize profits. I never wanted to do that. I was like, whatever money we get, we're going to put right into the show. So heavy on production and stuff like that. And because we did that in 2019, that's why we're hitting these numbers for 2022. Yeah. There's no question about that. I mean, you started early. You started real early. As soon as 2019 was over, you were like, yo, wait until you see think the pandemic fucked us, right? 2021. Yeah.
December. We started, I went to Vegas to scout venues December 8th of 2019. Right. Mo was, I think you were in Puerto Rico or wherever. Yeah. And so I went and looked at Thomas and Mack, the Orleans, MGM, Mandalay, and we started trying to figure out a venue deal. And then we actually locked the venue in deal prior to the pandemic. And we literally paid for it and all that. And then it was like, well, shit, what do we do now? Because we thought
that's how the whole world went.
We thought it was in 2021. So we didn't have 3 years. We had 2 years, and we were just going, you know what I mean? Like right out of the gate.
I mean,
Man,
the
I love
biggest
it.
advantage we had, I mean, just to give you, if you want to hear crazy numbers. So for 2019, it took us all the way to the end, but we hit 4,000 spectators. We sold tickets for this event 10 months out on Black Friday. In 45 minutes of ticket sales being open, we sold 5,000 tickets. So in less than an hour, we sold more tickets than we had in 2019. So we sold every single premium seat within the first day. So over 7,000 tickets. So it was mind-boggling. I didn't expect that. To be honest, me and Seth's targets, we were talking was, hey, if we can hit 800 to 1,000 for the whole day, we're off to a good start. Yeah,
that was it. It was like, we got to hit 1,000 tickets on day one. We got to hit 1,000 tickets on day one. And the scale, like Bo was saying, all the money that goes in that we bring in goes into the event. Like when you walk in there, you're going to see where every dollar is spent. Not only us, because we've like pretty much, especially me, I've had to like liquidate all of my stuff. I had to cancel all my shows to cover finances because we don't actually get paid from the venue until 30 days after the event. Right? So like, that's why there's no fight to win shows, because I can't afford to make venue deposits right now. Right. But Hanato, who created the book, the trading cards, all the apparel, he's got $500,000 out of his own money on apparel right now too. So it's not just, you know, the two of us, you know, doing that. Hanato's put a ton of money into
this. This is a big concept that I think, you know, that just in general in business. And I have one more question before we go into this year's event, but this is just a big thing in general in business, is like that people just don't understand. It's like, yo, look, if I risk $1 million, let's say I risk $1 million or $2 million doing something, let's say, how much should I get paid per year moving forward? Right? Is 50 grand good enough? Like, no, it's not fucking good enough. If you're risking 2 million out of your own money, like 50 grand a year, 100 grand a year, it's just not enough money. You don't need to risk $2 million to go make 100 grand a year. Like, that's just stupid, right? That's just stupid. And when people are thinking in a business sense, and that's the hard part sometimes. It's like, yeah, man, look, I hope you guys make money. You're risking millions of dollars. I hope you make millions of dollars.
Yeah, but most people don't see things like you. Most people don't see it like that. Like, that's like when people are like trash the UFC for how much they pay fighters. It's like Dana runs it like a fucking business. That's why it's set that way.
I still think they could pay the fighters more, bro.
No, I know, but still, there's a reason that they're still around.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's, you know, like he said, it's a free enterprise. So if you think you could do it better, then you go fucking do it better and show you. But one of the things I think that saved us this year and will save us for if we're able to do if Mo decides to do the next one, is that Mo underpriced the tickets for this horribly. And had he priced it appropriately, like I told him to, we would have brought in way more money and the production would have been way bigger, even though it's already like fucking
Seth's such a dick, homo.
Well, no, but it would have been way bigger. But now next time when we bring in, if we do it and we open ticket sales and they're priced appropriately, then we'll have more budget to be able to do more shit and more explosions and more cool things. So we actually do have some room to grow after this one, which is going to be mind-blowing to people when they see what we actually do, that there's actually still room to go to the next level. That's the only problem is I don't know what that is yet, because technology isn't there yet for the next one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we're pushing this thing.
I have a counter to Seth's argument though.
Go ahead.
I knew the tickets were underpriced, but I do that for two reasons. Number one, the atmosphere and the energy is very important. Dude, at 2019 Worlds, you had 4,000 people doing the wave. It was, it was insane when Lachlan Giles went on that absolute run.
Bro, when he oh my God.
I've never heard a stadium like that. So the point is, I want jiu-jitsu fans there as well. Number two, which Seth knows, is our whole motto is whether you do the trials, whether you do our opens, or you come to our world events, we're always going to give you a better value than what you're paying for. So those people are going to be with us forever. You know what I'm saying? So whoever we have for 2022, they're going to follow us wherever we go because we keep delivering. If we charge a price that people don't feel like they got their values worth, they're not going to come to our other events. So I know for a fact we always underprice our events, but I think it's a smart move long term, at least.
The other thing is, Mo, is that Elliot is also Jewish like me, so he understands where I'm coming from as well, right? So, yeah, I'm sure he gets both sides.
All right, yeah.
All right, Mo. Here's my last question for you before we start talking about this year's events and this year's roster. What has it been like to become kind of a grappling superstar, like a star in the grappling world for you, right? Because everybody wants to impress Mo now. Right? Like everyone wants to suck up to Mo and be with Mo because Mo can get you things. Where I don't know if that was the case for you before. I don't think it was as much. Like I think the stars knew.
I think it was easier. I think I built this reputation of just being an angry guy now, so people don't ask me too much.
Okay.
I'll be honest with you. There was a pivotal moment at 2019. I did some bracket reveal with Ricardo from Flow. I didn't want to do it because I was terrified to do interviews or anything. Public speaking is not my thing. So then my ADCC boss, Guy Nevins, comes up to me right after. He's like, "Hey, you're pretty good at it. I want you to run with it. Just go, be the face." And so then I started doing these lives. But the reality is this: anyone who knows me, Seth knows me very well. I'm actually a very reserved and private person. My Instagram's private. I just do it because people like it and it seems to be working. But, day to day, I'm actually very reserved and shy person.
I guess my question, so you have everyone wants your attention now though, right? Because you're the guy, so the guy that gets second or third at the trials is like, Mo, 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 Mo. Hey, Mo, Mo, Mo. Right? You have all of this attention now. What's that like for you on and because I'm sure it's I deserve in, man, and all of this bullshit and all, what's that been like for you?
I mean, I get it. I mean, when someone tries to argue with me, I mean, I know my shit when it comes to ADCC. I'm like a human encyclopedia. So I can defend any of my invites or brackets. But, I'm used to it. Ever since I've been doing the sport, people, and I like to help people out in general, by the way. So if they ask me something stupid, then I'm just going to definitely let them know it's a stupid request. But it seems to be working. People, and the issue with ADCC, in my opinion, was it was very, it's sort of secretive. You don't know what's going on. So I started doing these lives and these interviews and podcasts to put a light. And I think that's what gets people engaged. But personally, it's not like something I love to do first.
Got it. Yeah. It was very secretive. That's a really great point. Even the rules. The rules were secretive. So how could you prepare for all of a sudden somebody would just get points? And you're like, for what?
Yeah. No, you're 100% right. I mean, the rules used to be one paragraph. It is the most complex rule system in grappling. There's no question. I still have a hard time sometimes, and I have to refresh. But but this time, we filmed the DVD. Aurora, sorry, we filmed the DVD of the rules meeting. Made it 5 pages long, so we definitely spruced it up and from being a paragraph.
Nice. Yeah, it's what needs to be done, right? All right, let's get into it a little bit. Let's start with the super. Oh no, hold on. This is where I want to start. What made you decide to let Gordon do a division?
So it's never been requested before. I thought about it. I'm like, what's the downside? I see why he wants to do it. First of all, he's going for history. If he wins, he would be the first 3-division champion in ADCC, which has never been done before. And I'm sure he wants to chase the titles. If he wants to go out there and do it, the only risk would be if he got injured. But the way I look at it is, when Gordon did 2019, he just came off LCL surgery on his knee. He had food poisoning and he had a broken hand. So I was like, if he can do 8 matches, I'm willing to risk him doing 5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
I tried to talk him out of it.
Who, Gordon or no?
Gordon.
No.
Seth
tried to talk me out of it.
Well, you and Gordon. I messaged Gordon and I was like, hey man, it was after the Philippe Pena thing. I don't like that he's doing it as a promoter because of how much I'm putting into the production. So it scares me, because the last fight is there's so much into it, like production wise, you know? And so I kind of like, I don't want him to do it, but at the same time, as a fan, I'm like, it's pretty fucking cool.
Right.
And so I messaged him after when he signed the Pena fight with Flo. And I was like, hey, bro, like, why do you really need to do the division if you're already, because like I thought that was the only reason he was doing it was to fight Pena. Right.
Okay.
And I was like, what's the point? Like, you've already beaten everybody else. You've beaten you've beaten Yuri, he's beaten all those guys, right? And I was like, why don't you just do the super fight? And he was like, because I'm chasing legends. I'm going for all the records. And I was like, well, that's the difference between me and you, is that you are the greatest of all time, and I am a old promoter that sucks at jiu-jitsu. So he's like, he's trying to break every record, annihilate everything, and do things no one has ever done before. Because otherwise, I think this shit is boring to him. He has to challenge himself. And, you know, I don't know. It's one of the reasons that, like, you know, me and him have had our differences, you know, on social media and shit. But like as a grappler, like I don't know if I could ever respect anybody as much as I respect him and his mindset of what he's trying to do in the sport, you know?
Yeah, you got to give him credit. You can like him or dislike him, right? Like, and whatever. But as far as the athlete, you can't deny that what he's shooting for is amazing, and his ability is also amazing too.
Think about it. Most of the people who reach the pinnacle at the top of the sport, what do they try to do? They try to play it safe.
Yeah,
they want to do whatever they can to retain that. So you got this guy who's like, I'm going to go do the division. If you think about it, there's a possibility where Gordon Ryan faces Felipe Pena in the finals of 99 plus, and then 2 hours later he goes and fights Galvao. That means he would fight the two previous guys in the super fight back to back. That's insane.
Look, there's a possibility. We'll start at that 99 plus division here, and like looking at it, there's a possibility that Gordon ends up at some point through this division with someone like Nicky Rod, right? It's not possible.
Me and Mo, by the way, disagree about who's going to win in every single division.
Okay, so hold on. Let's start here. So I just want to bring up.
Let me finish that point. I have about an 80 to 90% success record when it comes to predicting ADCC, including trials. So
yeah, well, I am biased, and I have friends fighting in this tournament that I believe in that they're going to make it.
Look,
Gordon
hold on.
is going to fight Cyborg. That's what's going to happen before he fights Pena. That's my opinion.
Okay, hold on. I want to pose this scenario. Gordon and Nicky. Now, look, I'm not betting against Gordon in any way, right? Like, there's no fucking way you'll ever get me to bet against Gordon. But if it's not in the finals, okay? So that means shorter time. 10 minutes, right? If Gordon and Nicky Rod somehow end up on the feet inside the points range and Gordon's not winning, that could be a big problem for Gordon. No.
You got to understand something. You know, people bring this up with ADCC. It's one thing to wrestle, but to secure points in ADCC is so much harder. It's so hard. People go to total position. There's a strategy for you in the points time to be able to shoot to pull, which is what Gordon did against Buchecha. So, you know, he's got John Danaher. I mean, I trained with Danaher for a year. The guy's a wizard when it comes to strategies and stuff.
I'm just saying it will be interesting.
Yeah.
It will just be interesting, right? That's my thing. Like, inside a short time, okay? Look, Nicky Rod ain't beating Gordon. Let's be clear. Like, when they shake hands and they go, Nicky Rod, I love Nicky. He's a great dude, but he ain't beating Gordon to the finish. Not fucking happening, right? So, but inside this rule set, Nicky Rod was a fucking blue belt at the last tournament, and he gave everyone ADCC really fits his style, right? Like, really
counter to that.
Go ahead, tell me.
No one, including myself, respected Nicky Rod going to that World Championship 2019. He was under the radar, right? No one predicted he would do that. And in ADCC, I've seen this for the past 22 years. Once you hit the highest level, you have to reinvent yourself every ADCC. Marcelo Garcia was the master at this. 2005 comes, he's destroying everyone with X-guard sweeps. 2007, that's what everyone's expecting. What does he do? North-south, passes,
Right.
north-south chokes.
Right.
So now Nicky Rod has a target on his back, and everyone's going to be getting ready to prepare for him.
For sure.
You got to remember, Nicky Rod didn't score a single point last ADCC. They were all decisions. So obviously
Really?
he's got.
I didn't know that. He never scored?
No, he didn't score a single point. They were all. Actually, I think he might have with Orlando. He didn't submit him. So, but
he took him down, and he took him down in the first.
I think that was during points time, right? Yeah. So he might have not even scored a single point. So
that's crazy.
The point is,
all the way to silver.
Yeah. So people are going to have a target for him, trying to get ready for him. And there's some big guys in there. Victor Hugo, John Hansen. These guys are 260. The guy from Australia I just saw, he's 274.
All right, let's go through it. So who are you picking? Who are you picking in 99 plus? Seth.
Gordon.
Mo.
I give you my top three in every one. I'll give you my podium.
Can't do it.
He can't do it because he's the one.
I'll give you my dark horses. Yeah,
who's your dark horse in 99? Go. Who's your dark horse?
I'm gonna say, it sounds crazy. I'll say John Hansen. He's gonna make shockwaves. I really believe that.
John Hansen. Okay.
Yeah.
Who's
Victor Hugo and Cyborg
are your dark horses?
I think Cyborg has the best chance of beating Gordon of anyone in the entire tournament. That's my opinion. And I think I think my podium is Gordon, Felipe Pena, and then Cyborg.
You don't think Vinny has a chance at beating Gordon? He already beat him.
I just think that Gordon's way too big now for Vinny. That's the only reason, and the competition difference. Just Gordon is just so good, and he's so big, and he's so active. And Vinny has spent the past 3 years making a shit ton of money fighting MMA. And I think that's one of the biggest things.
Where's Vinny fought? I don't think Vinny's fought that much, has he?
Yeah, he won the PFL tournament. Remember, he won $1 million.
No, he didn't. He lost the fight.
Whatever. You know better than I do. Anyway, but he's been fighting MMA, and I think one of the biggest things in each division is how active people have been, and me and Mo completely disagree on this. But I think Cyborg is the biggest challenge for Gordon because of all the shit and the monkeys on his back right now and all the hate that he's dealt with, and how I wonder how the anger that he's dealt with over the past 2 years pushed him in his training camp. Like, we might see the next evolution of Cyborg at 40 years old, where he's just coming in to murder people. And I think he's going to be a big problem for everybody.
All right.
And I think Victor Hugo is being completely underlooked.
99.
You know who else is being on? Joao Gabriel Roca. So, like, people are not really talking about him.
He's fought in 3 years.
I know. So it's a big question mark.
It's a question mark.
He's tough. He's
very, very good. Look, he gave Gordon all Gordon could handle, and he was doing well with Gordon before the knee hurt, the knee injury. All right, under 99. Yeah. So, who's your dark horse, Mo? Under 99.
I mean, I saw him training this week. I was blown away, man. I'm just gonna say it out there, Marigali.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Yeah,
dude,
Seth.
He's really good.
I had Kynan first, second Yuri, third Marigali, and my dark horse in that division is Ardilla.
You guys got no love for Craig Jones in this division?
No.
I wouldn't say that's a dark horse for me, though. I don't consider Kynan, Yuri, and Craig as dark horses. So I'm going with
no. That was Seth's podium. That was Seth's podium.
Oh, that's it. I can't do the podium. So
yeah, I know. Yeah. I'm gonna go dark horse. Look,
there's one more too.
I don't know that you can. I don't think you can fucking count out Craig Jones. Craig Jones is fucking ninja. He's really good at getting second.
He is really good. I could see Craig winning the whole thing. Mm-hmm. The problem is the only reason that I, am not picking Craig to get second like everybody else is just because he did pretty poorly against Pedro Mourinho, and who was much smaller than him. And I feel like points wise, I feel like the size difference that he's going to have versus these guys is going to be too much.
What made him come up? Do you know? Why didn't he just do 88?
Because his student
teammates. There's three. Because it would have been J-Rod, Isaac, and Craig in 88. So Isaac went and did minus 99 with the intent to swap them. So, which is what happened.
Got it. Because you make them fight in the
What would
second
you
round.
do if you're what would you do? Would you do what's best for you, or would you do what's best for your students?
Oh, for me, I'm my student.
Yeah, I mean Craig.
Yeah, but I'm not chasing greatness. Craig's still trying to chase greatness a little bit.
That's true, but Craig also cares a lot about his team, dude. Like that
True.
dude's about his team, you know.
I agree.
And you know, I'm not the biggest Craig Jones fan in the world, just because like the antics and shit. But like game wise, dude, he's game as shit.
Yeah.
And he could get first place or he might get outpointed, you know.
Right.
But I don't know that Marigali is like, who knows? Like, he might win it all too, dude.
Look, I think Craig versus Marigali would be a very interesting matchup.
Yeah.
You know, I think that would be a very interesting matchup. Because Craig obviously, what's that?
Craig and Kynan. Kynan's lost multiple times to heel hooks.
Yeah.
And Craig is, you know, next to Gordon.
I don't feel like Craig and Kynan. I think Craig beats Kynan.
That's why it's all seeding. When you get to a certain point in some of these divisions, it's all about who goes where. Because stylistically, Craig, you know, could probably pretty easily beat. Not easily. I should take that back. I think he could beat Kynan with the heel hook, but I don't know how he'll do against Yuri.
Right. Yeah. No.
You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
like Yuri's a monster wrestler.
Yes.
So it's like, you know, that's all Mo. So
Mo, you ready? Funny story real fast. So I don't know, like 6 months ago, 8 months ago, Seth calls me. Like, all right, and you know how Seth is, right? Seth is like, when he wants to talk to you, he blows you up on every single platform. Right? Like, I have Instagram messages, I have missed phone calls, I have missed Facebook calls, and I'm like, yo, shit, what the fuck's going on? Right? And I call him. I get back to him. I'm like, yo, you okay? He goes, yeah. He goes, bro, you really need to do the trials this year because 99, no one's in it. No one's in it. You'll definitely get in, and you won't get a 16 seed, right? You won't have to face a former champion. And I was like, oh, fuck. And I started thinking, I think I even signed up for it, didn't I? Yeah, I signed up for it. Yeah, I signed up for it. And then the next thing you know, like all next week, Gordon's in. Like the whole thing comes out. And I was like, yo, Seth, like, no, you know.
You want to laugh. It's just the first time ever. There's 5 ADCC champions in 99 plus. So you have Gordon, Orlando, Cyborg, Vinny, and Felipe Pena. And then you have Joao Gabriel as a silver medalist in the absolute. So 6
like,
just
none of them were supposed to do that.
No, none of them were in. None of them were in it. At the time, it was a weak division. I agree. I agreed with you, you know, but like, and then all of a sudden, you know, and I was like, yeah, Seth, the fuck. I was like, if I win the trials, who am I going to get? One of those 5 champions now?
Yeah.
Anyway, I wouldn't have done it anyway, but
this is by far the most stacked tournament ever. I mean, it's comical at this point. Every single these first round matches are going to be super fights.
Dude, you don't even know who to pick. Like I mean, like when we move now to the 88 division, are we gonna like when you look at this, Mateus, Giancarlo, Isaac, Hulk, right? I mean, Ty
Rotolo,
are you picking? Are we picking Shunji in the first round? Like,
it's possible.
Shunji's a fucking stud.
Yeah, I know.
This is crazy. Who's your dark horse at 88, Mo?
I'm gonna say it. Isaac. I know how good he is. Isaac Michelle from the B team, the Australian kid. He's a killer. He's gonna shock people. And I'd say Ty Rotolo.
I was gonna say Ty Rotolo.
I don't think Ty's a dark horse. I think Ty's one of the favorites. The problem,
he's kind of undersized though, isn't he?
Yeah, but the problem not
anymore.
The problem with Ty.
How much does he weigh right now?
He's walking 190 something. Oh, so he's been him and Kate have been working out. They look good, man.
Nice.
So yeah.
The problem with Ty is that he has to fight Hinger and Hulk in the first 2 rounds, one way or the other, right? Like they have to, right? So
there's 3 of them.
That's the issue that I see because it's like you're having to fight your coaches, and it's like, you know, I said this on the other podcast I did where it's like there's kids I coach in high school wrestling that I'll maul them in the room, but I can't beat the guys they can beat, you know? So I feel like in 88, I don't know if Ty's going to get past Hulk, but I think Ty's going to win the absolute. But I think Mason Fowler's going to win this division.
I was going to say Mason Fowler. We can't count out Mason Fowler here.
Mason is definitely one of my dark horses as well. I should say that. I think Isaac's going to make a splash. I wouldn't be surprised if he medals, but I think Mason has. For me, there's three guys in that division that have a huge advantage. Number one's Denise, Hulk, and Mason Fowler, and that's based on their physicality and their wrestling. All very explosive, strong guys, and they have the wrestling advantage. We'll see if that's enough.
77. What a division! Obviously, what a division. Do you even have a dark horse?
I mean, I guess if you can consider Mika. I will say one thing about this division.
Mika?
It's funny.
Wait, real quick, before 77, we also forgot to mention that Wagner Rocha is an 88 kilograms too.
Yeah.
He's a winner, tough. Man. He's a winner.
Second last year.
The dude's a winner. Yeah, he's a winner.
Experience. He's got so much experience as well.
He's so good at the game.
I will say one thing about 77 though that annoys me. I get this with the Galval Gordon thing as well. Make no mistake. At the end of the day, everyone has to get through JT Torres, and he doesn't compete often. But when you're a two-time rating champ in the 77 division, there's a reason for that. So at the end of the day, they got to. And he was made for ADCC. JT I think JT has the most effective wrestling in ADCC I've ever seen. And what I mean by that is when he shoots, he goes to score. It's very rare when he doesn't. So he's very strong. He's very athletic. He's got the cardio.
If anybody's money is on anybody other than JT Torres, you're fucking crazy at 77. Unless it's Mika. If anybody's money is on anybody other than JT Torres, you're crazy. Now, look, I could see Mika doing it, right? I could see – what's that?
There's one thing – sorry for cutting you off. I want to say one thing. Historically speaking, trials winners do not do well at the World Championship. I can't even remember the last time one won the tournament, and they're half the division. So, these guys are going to be tested. I know how good Mika is. I trained with the kid. What he did to me was horrific. He's really tough, but until I see it at the World Championship, it's going to be a question mark for me.
I think that one's one of the easier ones to do the podium on, to be honest with you.
Go.
JT Torres, Mika Galval, Roberto Jimenez. Yeah.
I have a dark horse for 77. I know people are going to think I'm nuts, but I think he's going to finally do his breakout. Nicky Ryan. I'm going to say it. I know how good this kid is. I've seen it. If he competes even half as he does in training, he's going to shock the world. So I'm going to go out there.
I really like Roberto Jimenez.
Look at the past 2 years.
Hold on. Let me finish my point. He gets leg locked every other month.
Look up his record. In the past 2 years, he's beaten almost every single person in that division, except for Mika Galval and JT Torres. He's beat Dante Leon. He's beaten Cade Rotolo. I don't disagree with you. Everyone in that bracket.
I don't disagree with you, but if he sees Andy Varela, he's going to have a problem.
Fuck, I love Andy Varela.
That's my dark horse in that division is Andy Varela.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So good.
I'm a huge Andy. I didn't even know about Andy Varela until he fought Taza on Fight to Win. And I'm like, Then I saw him at West Coast Trials. Like, he was made for ADCC, Andy Varela.
Yes.
He's just such a showman. He's so good. He's so athletic. I'm a huge Andy Varela fan. And by the way, you can message all three of those guys. I told them 4 months ago, right after West Coast Trials, I messaged Majid, Andy, and PJ. I go, mark my words, you three are going to be in the 77 division. And Here we are. So, yeah.
All right, guys. One more male division, 66. Who's your dark horse, Mo?
Juan Alvarenga. I know people think I'm crazy, but I know what I'm talking about. This guy's, everyone's going to see how good this guy really is. If he won the whole division.
He never competes.
He competed.
He's match in like 5 years.
Insiders know, buddy. You're gonna see. All right, I don't miss. We'll talk. We'll talk Sunday night, buddy. All right.
Yeah. Who you got, Seth? Give me your podium, Seth. Go.
Gary Tonin. No, my podium.
Yeah.
Josh Cisneros, Cole Abate, Gary Tonin.
You think Gary's getting on there?
I
Cutting all
think
this
Gary
weight.
is going to fight Josh Cisneros in the semifinals. I think Josh is going to beat him. And then I think Cole's going to fight Kennedy. And Cole's going to beat Kennedy. And it's going to be Josh, Cole, and Gary. But also, those are like my 3 favorite grapplers in the entire world. And I'm completely biased. And I have zero knowledge of any of the Brazilians in this bracket. I've never seen them compete. And I'm completely going off personality bias is what I'm going for.
As long as you can admit it, Seth, good job.
With Josh Cisneros, that's my dude, man.
Let's go to the females under 60.
Brianna St. Marie for me, no question. This girl's so good.
Okay. Seth?
She's my dark horse.
I'm going Fiona Davies for gold.
It's a good one.
Brianna St. Marie second. And Bia Mosquito third.
Man, what's the matter with you guys? No Mesa love?
Maisa?
Yeah.
She weighs 12 pounds.
The issue is this.
Good point.
Maisa is probably the most skilled female grappler I've ever seen, period. But female grappler, but she's what's it called though? She is undersized. So if
she's going to struggle with the rules.
Overtime, the wrestling, the size and the physicality in the wrestling, it's going to be interesting to see how
she's going to struggle with the rules.
Got Barillo. Yeah. So
I think there's 5 girls in this division that could get first place. I think Maisa, Fiona, Bianca, Bia, and Brianna are all possible. I think a lot of it depends on the draw. I just think that Fiona is going to win because I just saw her fight Rafaela Guedes on my show, and I was blown away. And I was like, this girl is ready. And that was before ADCC camp. So,
and she's really smart. Like how she won the Gi Worlds this year. Like she's like, if you looked at the fight, you were like, yo, she just got murked, like when you're looking at it. But when you looked at the points and like who won, you were like, yeah, Fiona won, So she's very good with the rules as well.
She spent her whole camp with JT Torres.
Yeah, she's very good at the rules.
So
yep.
That's that helped her. But then again, Bianca has beaten her multiple times now. And then Bia Mosquito, dude, like Bia is the queen. So it's like Bia's the
great.
Brianna St. Marie is really good. And Maisa, like, who knows, man? I mean, I think if Mo is able to get that 3rd division added for the next ADCC, Maisa Bastos wins whatever the low weight class is for sure.
Man, the level of female grappling has really hold on. First of all, the level of all grappling, like since the pandemic, oh my God, the level's up. Like, holy shit, is the level of grappling up. And the level of the females is way up. So kudos to all the ladies out there who have really dedicated, and kudos to guys like Mo and you, Seth, who have given them a platform to be able to do it. So that's that. Go ahead, Mo.
I'm very confident we'll get a 3rd women's division for the next one. And if that gets decided, we would redraw the weight classes. It would probably be either 50 or 55 is the lightest. And probably do 65 or something. But there's definitely enough talent right now to fill 3 women's division easily.
I agree. All right. Last division before we talk about the super fight. Over 60 for the women. Dark horse, Mo.
I mean, I don't know if that counts, but I think Amy Campo will make a good performance. But I mean, dark horse, I would have to say Rafaela or Kendall. I'll say Rafaela.
Seth, what's your podium?
All of it depends on the seeding.
Yeah,
in this one, because you got Rafaela beats Kendall beats Amy Campo, Elizabeth Clay beats Kendall. So it's like I think a lot of it depends on how it's seeded, but I think Gabby wins. I think it goes Gabby, Rafaela Guedes, and then Kendall, but it all depends on what happens with Elizabeth Clay and Amy Campo. But I could also see it being Rafaela Guedes first, Gabby 2, and Elizabeth Clay 3. So
it could be a lot of ways.
Yeah, it's like how you said you'd be stupid to bet against JT Torres. You'd be stupid to bet against Gordon Ryan. You wouldn't be stupid to bet against Gabby just with Rafaela Guedes, in my opinion. But you wouldn't be the smartest to bet against Gabby, regardless if she lost to Amanda Levy, whatever.
Did Amanda Levy try to get in?
She was injured.
Amanda. Oh, guess what? You know she's in the opens, right, Seth? She signed up.
Who?
Really?
Amanda Levy's in our open. Or yeah.
I had no idea.
Oh, wow.
I saw her name on there. You know, there's one factor that I think is going to be a major thing, and these athletes are not going to be ready for is, dude, when I walked into that stadium, when it's empty, I literally got goosebumps. I mean, you feel like you're in the Coliseum. So, you know, you get these competitors who are used to fighting in front of 200 people, and you walk out there in front of 11, 12, 13,000 people. Those nerves are going to get to these, to a lot of these athletes. So people like Gary Tonin, Gabby Garcia, who are used to competing in very big crowds, I think they're going to have a big advantage because some of these people are going to get stage fright.
Mo, that's
Nobody
a great point.
knows more about this than Elliot.
Look, Mo, that's a great point. I was just going to say, Seth, you hate me for this, right? Because with his Fight to Win Pro shows, we don't let our people just go compete, right? Because walking out on a stage is much different than just doing a regular grappling tournament. So we like for our students to have won some regular grappling tournaments at a higher level before we let them do a pro, because that's that walk. There's something to that walk. And there's something to going from a grappling match, a smaller grappling match, to something massive, right? Like knowing that millions of people are watching you, that fucks with you. And if you don't admit that it does, and if you don't admit that it's different, you're going to have an issue. So that's a great point, Mo.
Let me ask you a question, Elliot.
Yeah.
Now, I know, I mean, I might be wrong, but I know you had some mental stuff going on when you were fighting MMA.
Yeah.
Right? So what was the difference for you when you were fighting in the UFC? I think I remember it was the Brandon Vera fight. I think I saw you were talking about in one of your podcasts one time that was really fucking with your head. Versus when you fought in ADCC. So like, what was the differences for you? I mean, I know you had a lot of personal growth in that 10 years, but like, what was the difference for you fighting in the UFC and then fighting, you know, at ADCC in 2019?
Look, for me, it was my whole identity was riding on the UFC and being a fighter. Everything about me and the reason for my existence in the world was about fighting and becoming the champion, because I had attached from a very young age being able to beat somebody up with somebody liking me, somebody like being my friend. And like, so I was like, oh, wow. Okay. So this is how you do it. This is because for most of my childhood, nobody liked me. So I was like, oh, okay. This is how you do it. Great. Okay. And then I just marched that out. So Elliot's existence in the world attached to winning fights. I have my issues, my mental struggles and some growth. And, come ADCC, look, I was super grateful for you guys to allow me to do it in 2019, because it was the only thing it was the only grappling event it was the only major event in martial arts on the grappling end that I didn't get to do. I got second 3 times at the trials. So
I remember you, Elliot, way back. I think it was 2007. I think you did
2003 was the first year I tried.
But you did 7 as well, correct?
I did 5. I did 7. Yeah, and you know, and
okay, because I remember you. I was like, this guy's big. He's tough. So yeah. I remember it was the East Coast trials. So you're a true OG, man. You've been around.
I was around for a while.
2005. Elliot was reffing one of my matches when I was a white belt. Yeah. And it was like, I think, because weren't you one of the first Americans to win pans in like multiple belts?
Yeah, I was the first.
Like all the color belts, right?
Yeah.
And I remember being nervous as shit because Elliot Marshall was reffing my match.
But look, I've had a great life, but for me, that was the difference. Like my existence wasn't about this. So to answer your question, Seth, for me, ADCC 2019, look, I was 39 years old, almost 40. I wasn't training full time anymore. There was nothing about me that was a full-time competitor, but it was very important for me to show my children that when you get a call, you make the walk, right? Yeah. And to show my students, when you get a call, you make the walk. Warriors go to war and fighters fight. So that was the important piece for me. Like I had no delusions of grandeur that I was, beating Yuri Samoas really, or, like I gave it my all, but, fighters Fighters go die on their shield.
That's interesting you mentioned that, because like my bosses in ADCC, they never get involved in anything, but there's certain things they always look for. And this is why I get very frustrated with some of these athletes. They want people who are dying to be there. I don't care if someone wins or loses. Someone's got to lose the first round, right? 50% have to go. But my thing is, just go out there and give it 100%. So I feel like an athlete's half-assing something, or even like invites, it just really irks me, and it irks my bosses off. Like, there's thousands of people dying to be in this position. So whoever gets in, they got to take it very seriously. And if they don't, they don't come back.
One of the main stories of this ADCC is kind of the changing of the guard, right? This is, the if you will, the last dance for so many legends, right? So I guess I have a question for both of you. Do you guys see the veterans walking out of this with more medals or more, or do you see the next generation coming through and replacing them this time? Like, is this their Jordan performance, or was that 2019?
Look, in the heavier divisions, the veterans are going to do a little better, because that's just how it works in the experience, right? Really, really matters. In the lighter divisions, it's not going to be the veterans, in my opinion, because speed, skill, athleticism is what is more important in lighter divisions. That's why like Jose Aldo, for example, even though I know he just lost his last fight, that's why he's
watch him lose. I hate watching that.
Yeah, but it's such an anomaly, right? He's such an anomaly because he got so far again when it looked like his time was over in a lighter weight class where speed and timing matter, right? In athletic sport, in physical combat like this. So I think in the lighter weights, you're going to see the kids really start to come. The veterans will do okay in the heavier weights. And look, I don't want to shit on. I love Rafael Lovato. I love Shunji. These are great guys, right? These are amazing guys. Lovato just had twins, man. Like things change in your life. And man, I'm super excited to see his last hurrah. It's amazing. I literally think he's the greatest American grappler ever, above Gordon, because he did it in both gi and no gi. So yeah, that's my opinion there. Mel, how do you see that?
Yeah, I'd say overall, by the way, it's a very good assessment. I agree with you in the lighter weights. Like I think Abate, Fabricio Andre, Baby Shark, these guys they're going to make statements. So I agree with you 100%. Normally, in previous ADCs, I'd side with the veterans, but I'm going to go and say that this one, I think the younger generation will edge the veterans out by a small margin, to be honest.
The game moved, guys, since the pandemic. The game is so much better since the pandemic. Like, even being out at Masters Worlds last week, Masters 1 is a ridiculously hard division to win. I don't care what belt you're in. It's a ridiculous hard division to win. So
I got one more for you, Elliot.
Go.
And then you can talk about Gordon and Andre. Okay. So one of the things that I think is interesting about ADCC, even IBJJF, which I can't believe those words just came out of my mouth, that I find this interesting. And fight to win of what we've done is, in 2015, obviously, or 2014, it was about MMA, right? It was about the culmination of all the martial arts in MMA, right. And that is the thing, right? And then, I figured out, how many people actually want to do MMA that are fans of it versus if I can take, because I hated working with
genius move by you.
So I was like, what if I dumb this down? We go backwards and we focus on one art, right? And we just do jujitsu and we highlight that like we would MMA. What could we build, right? Now, I'm wondering, and I'm not going to get into the drama of obviously what happened with our team, with Elevation, but you have kind of done the same approach to where you're not really focused on MMA anymore as a coach, and you coach everyone. You coached multiple guys that fought for UFC titles. I mean, you coached Shane Carwin, you coached all those guys, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, what are you seeing and what's happening in the jiu-jitsu school community that's making you decide that I'm going to put my attention and my focus back into, the single sport aspect of it versus focusing on the MMA fighter?
You're asking me this question.
Yeah.
I was about to be the head coach of Elevation Fight Team again. A bunch of the guys had asked me when I had stepped away from it kind of quietly. Mm-hmm. And I was about to take the job, and I was talking to my therapist. I see my therapist every week, and she looks at me and she goes, Ellie, there's nothing in your life that has pointed in the direction of wanting to do this again. You love jiu-jitsu, and that's on your 10-year goals. So if you can get away from your ego in the sense of the team will do well, and therefore you'll get some notoriety, fame, whatever. And that fighting has always been this thing that saved you, like I talked about earlier. It's just like, if you can get away from those two things, then I think you should think about doing it. And if you can't get away from those two things, I think you should really consider not doing it. So we sat there for 3 minutes. Nobody said a word. And I said, you're fucking right. So I went in 2 days later and kicked all the MMA fighters out of the school.
You've always been, Ellie, even when me and you weren't like super tight back when you were an MMA fighter and we were on separate teams, because I had my squad, you had your squad. I've always respected you so much, even though my ex-wife had a huge crush on you and would talk about it all the time, right? She's like, how are you both Jewish? And he's so much better looking than you. I was like, whatever. I've always just respected your openness about, your mental challenges and like even going through therapy and stuff like that. It's not something that people talk about on a regular basis, about the mental struggles of this and how hard it can possibly be. So I've just wanted to know these answers for a while, from you. Just
and everyone thinks
I'm a fan of yours, and so
I appreciate it.
Thanks for being open to answering those questions and not telling me just to go fuck myself.
No, I'll talk about anything really. Like it's about vision, right? Like Mo talked about vision for ADCC, and I had a vision for where I wanted my life to go, and they weren't matching up with MMA. And then some of the particulars and the difficulties of running an MMA team when it's not focused on like only your school, right? Like if I was the only boss, but that wasn't the case, and it was just way too much of a headache for me, and I got nothing out of it. Where like grappling and jiu-jitsu really gives me a lot. Like I have these students that I fucking love. Like I've been sick this whole week, and I haven't been able to go teach, and man, that has eaten me up. Like it eats me up that I didn't go to my class. Like I'm really upset. So that's your answer. And I love jiu-jitsu, and I was super stoked when you hit me up, Seth. I was like, I don't even understand why Mo wants to do this. Like he was just on Joe Rogan's podcast. Like, why does he want to come on like this podcast? So I'm super appreciative of it. And I just love what jiu-jitsu has done for me. I want to give more of that to the world. I want to give more of that to the world. So that answers your question, Seth.
And I feel that that's transparent in your academies. Obviously I'm a black belt under, I don't even know if I'm under you or Amal or who I'm under, but it's all the same. But you can feel that in the schools. You can feel the love that the people from the top have all the way down. And I think that's something that we try to emulate with ADCC, is that you can feel at the show. I mean, for me, I love production. So does Mo, right? I love that shit. The fighting stuff, it could be anything for me. It could be two dudes slapping each other in the face. I would still love doing it because I'm a production guy, right? But all the way down from the fighting to the lights, to the sound, to the video, you feel it when you're in there. It's a vibe that we create, and it's based on our love for what we're doing.
That's why I love West Coast Trials. Yeah. That's because West Coast Trials felt like it was such a massive come up for jiu-jitsu, and it brought the level up. So, I
mean, the problem is now when we do the next one, we're going to have to go to a stadium. Like that's it. No more hotel. We're going to have to go.
We did try.
I mean, Seth is just going to try to pack it. We got more space, but we're going to like legit have to go to smaller stadiums.
I agree with you, Seth. I agree with you. We got more space. So.
No, we tried, dude. We tried, but the problem was booking venues on the West Coast in 2021 was virtually impossible. Mm-hmm. So it was the California venues still had COVID restrictions when the rest of the world or rest of America was open. But we had to do it on the West Coast because it's the West Coast trials. There was a point where we were talking about the West Coast trials were going to be in Dallas, Texas. I'm not kidding, because we couldn't do a show in California.
Sure.
We couldn't find a venue in California. That's how we ended up in Vegas. We went every single venue in Southern California, and nobody
would do it.
Let us book it. No one. You know, because the forum was booked. And, it was tough.
Guys, I appreciate you coming on. You know, I appreciate the opportunity to talk. I hope everyone enjoyed this.
We got to do Gordon Galvao still, dude.
Oh shit. I mean, look, if it, I ain't picking against Gordon. Get the fuck out of here.
I'll just talk about the match.
Overtime.
The thing is, like, obviously Gordon's Gordon, but make no mistake, Andre Galvao knows those rules better than some of our judges. So he knows the ADCC rules better than anyone we've ever seen. That's the consensus amongst staff. And let's just be honest here. He's won the super fight 4 times. And I think and he's dominated every single one. None of them have been close, including him beating Pena. So, and I think he's got the wrestling advantage on Gordon. The issue is if Gordon gets on top of him, that's not going to be good. It's not. Pena has a more dynamic guard, I feel, than Galvao. So if Gordon gets
Galvao's
on top,
going to give his back, and then that's going to be. If Gordon gets on top, Galvao's going to give his back, and then that's going to be a big problem.
I think it's going to happen just like Pena and Gordon. Not like he's going to quit. What I think is going to happen is it's going to go to overtime. They're going to get in a wrestling exchange, and Andre's going to go for something, and Gordon's going to counter wrestle him. They're going to go to the ground. Gordon's going to get his back, and he's going to beat him with how many points you get for putting your hooks in. I don't know what the rules
he's going to finish him.
But I don't think he's going to finish him. I don't think you can finish Galvao unless you literally pop the bone out of the skin or put him to sleep. He's not going to tap.
I think I'll put him to sleep.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the only way, because the guy is a fucking warrior and he's got the heart of a champion.
I agree. I think age is not helping him here.
I know, but at the same time, I think it's ridiculous that a lot of people are dismissing what Andre's accomplished and what he's capable of. And the fact that he even has the balls when he has no reason to take this match. He really doesn't. He could have retired easily the last time and been done.
Yes.
Like, he's doing it because he's Andre. Yes. And it's a challenge. And it is the toughest challenge he could possibly have. So, like you said, he's like it says behind you, he's the man in the arena, Yep. The gladiator fucking fights for the arena. And regardless, win or lose, he's going to go out there and he's going to give everything that he possibly can. And I think a lot of people are way too dismissive of Andre Galvao.
I agree. 100%. Yeah. I mean, I just want to see the match. So
it's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah. Awesome.
Guys, great talk. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming on. You guys, I appreciate, I know you guys are super busy. We got 1 week, motherfuckers. We got 1 week to the greatest grappling event in the world ever, in the history of the world. Yep. Mo, thank you so much for doing all this. Seth, thank you so much for doing this. No problem. Because I hope do the same on this podcast. Look, Mo and Seth have their own unique power, that thing that makes them amazing in the world. And I have my unique thing that makes me amazing in the world. Don't go out in the world and try to be Mo and Seth. Don't go out in the world and try to be me. Everybody go out there and find your own power. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening to this episode of The Gospel of Fire. If you enjoyed the episode, I'd love a review on iTunes or wherever you are listening to this podcast. Don't forget to follow me on social media at FireMarshal205. If you are a BJJ enthusiast, check out my YouTube channel. I put all kinds of instructional videos out on there, so go check it out. My book is still out on Amazon by the same name as the podcast, The Gospel of Fire. So if you are interested, go check out that. And most importantly, guys, go out there every day, find your power. Thanks a lot. Guys, look, I get it. I totally get it. You opened a martial arts school, and man, it's kind of crushing you. There's all this other stuff to do other than teach, right? You love teaching. You love jiu-jitsu. You love Muay Thai. You love karate, whatever it is you're teaching. And man, but there's all this other stuff. There's the front desk. There's taxes. There's curriculum. There's cleaning. There's problems, staffing, covering. Whew, man, it's so much. It's so much. Well, let me tell you, we have started what's called Easton Online, and Easton Online is here to solve all of these problems for you. Easton Online is a digital academy for martial arts school owners and managers. Will help you establish or enhance your business with best practices. Most importantly, we're going to help you get back to what it is that you love most, teaching and doing martial arts. Okay, so for more information, guys, go to easton.online. Again, that's easton.online. Add your email. You're going to get notified about the course launches. Our first course is going to be all about the first impression specialists, your front desk, and all kinds of stuff, special offers, promotions, as well as we started a podcast by the same name, Easton Online, that's going to talk about our process of how we went from a tiny little martial arts school to what is now 7 martial arts schools, 7 Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Muay Thai schools, in a very holistic way that we believe kept the integrity of the art and also deals with its people very well. So again, easton.online, enter your email, and you're going to get everything you need right there. So thanks, guys.